Laughing Monkey Music today. We have on Jesper Binzer. How are you from DAD? Welcome
I'm
back.
fine, thank you. I'm fine. I'm from it's the evening over here in Copenhagen, and I'm in a good mood.
It's 6 o'clock for you, right?
Yeah, yes, it's 7 o'clock. Yeah,
It's off by an hour.
yeah,
It's a 6 hour difference. So
yeah.
we spoke not too long ago to celebrate. You had been a big year for you because you had a Greatest Hits album, which was fantastic, good celebration. We talked about that, and now we're talking about you got 40 years. Congratulations, which is a huge thing in anything in life, marriage.
Eh,
A band is
def-
like phenomenal.
yeah, definitely. I mean, we could just delve into the 40 years anniversary just because we had this new album going for us. It was
Yeah.
very important because, I mean, nostalgia is great for some, and it's of course inevitable if you're a 40 years old band, but being able to be current and here and now with a new album has been a lifesaver for us. So it's been really nice. Go back to the rehearsal place, make some new stuff up while we were down at the National Museum, literally talking about ourselves from the old days.
It's a good album. So I've heard it, and I was excited because to me, so the three singles were out is Head Over Heels, keep the mother down, and the Ghost. To me, it was phenomenal. I was excited when I heard that single
Oh,
come out.
great!
That was
Thank
that was
you.
that was the big standout. I always go back to that song. There's something about the emotion in your voice in that song. It's
Oh,
just
great!
so great. But I mean, so I've heard it. The whole thing, 14 tracks. It's phenomenal. October 4th coming out. So
Yeah.
we're getting there. We're getting real close to the release of that. And then you guys are touring. You're gonna do 24 dates, right, in Denmark to celebrate. Is that
Oh,
what
I
it is?
can't. Oh, I haven't really counted them, but we have been we've been playing all summer, more or less celebrating the 40 years,
Yeah.
and now we have like a big sold out arena concert in Copenhagen coming up in a month, and so that coincides with all kinds of release shit going on with the new album. So we're going tomorrow. No, in a couple of weeks, a couple of days, we're going to Stockholm. And then we're going to Hamburg, and then we have a big release party here in Copenhagen. So we're doing a lot of work towards this,
Yeah.
which is great because, I mean, we just want to wave the flag as much as possible. But November will definitely be touring because that's Scandinavia and Europe.
I know it's always a challenge to go anywhere for European bands outside of Europe, and actually for American bands to go outside of America now because of the way the world is. Is there any chance that you may be able to do anything in the future? Any special guest things, even if it's on one of those rock cruises or anything, for other outside fans to see you?
I mean, I mean, we talk about it all the time, and we're really trying to do. And for the moment, we've got a plan touring Europe with the Finnish band 69 Eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually have some kind of following in America. So that we're hoping and we're wishing and praying to do it. But the main thing actually is that we've set aside 2025 as
Mm-hmm.
the year where we really try to get outside of Scandinavia. So there's an Australia tour already planned,
Yeah.
and to coincide with that, some Japan shows. So definitely yes. And
Good.
I mean, we're trying to keep out of UK because they're stupid and they're Brexit and they
Oh,
have
Brexit. Yeah.
expensive visas. So maybe there's even more time to come to the States. And
Well,
definitely all of us really want to.
and it's hard, and the fans that don't know by now, it's almost impossible for a band to make a profit touring outside of where they live. So it's not the bands don't want to. I'm just asking if it's even in the thought process that someone's trying to do something. Because sometimes you just can't even get there because there's thousands of dollars just to apply, and then you each band member, and you got to send this over here.
Yeah,
You're either ready. Sometimes bands are just breaking even just to tour, just because they want to see their fans. A lot of
exactly,
bands do that, just
exactly,
breaking
exactly.
even. But so
But
we're working for free for a year.
we exactly, and that's actually a big discussion because we know for a fact that we can play a couple of shows in Denmark, and then that'll pay for a whole US tour, a small US tour,
Mm-hmm.
which is that's a luxury for us because not many bands has that possibility.
Right.
For us, I think it's worth it because we still have a lot of fans in America, and it's just a bucket list thing to do because I mean, if we could be a special guest for someone who could draw a little more crowd, that would be a
Yeah.
perfect setup for us. And that's what we're looking at. And we're just hoping and keeping our eyes open.
America's been doing a lot of like these rock packages, like 3 bands.
Yeah,
You guys would be perfect, like sandwich between like a newer band and then like you guys, and then the headliners. So it would cushion the financial blow for you guys and get you to the right
definitely.
size audiences, and then maybe a little exposure too. Because a lot at my point, at my age, we got our kids coming to these shows, so it's a new generation that are going out and seeing Rats and this and that's,
Yeah.
so they can see the DADs, and and that's exciting,
Exactly.
as an
Exactly.
artist to do new
Yeah.
music, get new fans, and be 40 years in.
Exactly, and that's what this is all about. This, to be in the here and now and try to be current in that sense. Because if you're just a nostalgia act, then to me you're dying. But to be able to come out there and meet some new people, that's exactly to the same as being current. That is just it's a here and now thing. So we are so much looking into it, and I mean we're writing emails to the bookers all the time, and we try to hook up with some. There's a lot of Scandinavian bands that actually has some kind of following as well. So we can do a trade-off. They can come to Denmark, and then they can bring us to America.
Well, it's interesting because there does seem to be an undercurrent of Scandinavian like rock bands generationally coming out now that are carrying the flag.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
the earlier of that rock phase of those years, which is kind of fun. That are kind of catching the wave, which is really interesting. I mean, and I think any band that wants to tour, it's fantastic if they do an album or not. Because what you guys are already doing is doing a complete album after 40 years, original songs. You know what I mean? There's not always a market for that right now. At this point, it's a lot for bands. Some bands just go, I can do it. We can record for a year, but we actually end up losing money. And I go out on the weekends, I can fly, I can make the money, perform songs I write, I love. I'd love to do new music, but nobody wants to hear it. They want to hear the same 10 songs. Our sets are only 35 minutes. So it becomes just like a matter of what are you going to do with your time?
Exactly.
So you guys are in a nice spot where you're like, our life is set up because of where you live. You're almost like not like isolated, but the terms are different. So it's allowed
the terms are different because we have this schizophrenic career that we are like a big major artist
in
Denmark. So and we just have to use that as an upside, because making some money and then spending them abroad is perfect, because Denmark is a very, very small country. So we need just to survive, not survive economically, but survive artistically. We need to get outside of Denmark, and it's a big thing for us, and it's definitely is something. If we have taken the step that we want to be alive, we want to be current, we want to make new music. Of course, we'll make the same kind of money just playing Sleep My Day Away, but we really want to stay alive artistically, and then of course we'll come to America as well, even though it'll cost us money, because all in all, it will be a lot of plus just because we make so much money in Denmark.
And the thing is, and I want to say to fans, if they do come, and if you see that, if any band that actually crossed the ocean, making it in America, to coming, go out of your way to go, because this is like, they're usually being the negative just to kind of to see the fans and do this round. I mean, we're at a point now where rock is healthy enough to even what that happened. The legacy, it's like a legacy lap for a lot of rock and roll, and hopefully it's just a refreshing because there's new bands coming out. I mean, as some of these get older, but this is a strong album, and you're keeping to your rock roots. There was a point when rock kind of changed and tried to mix it with other things, at the late 90s, and try to be something they weren't. But this is not you trying to be modern rock, which is a weird thing. It's you just being a rock and roll band.
Exactly. So that keeps us in a way classic, but it's a very, very lovely frame to be yourself in, because rock and roll is something about having the thirst for freedom, and you've got a thirst for freedom at my age anyway, still, and being just playing the old songs, it's the same as giving up in a funny way. So using rock and roll as a frame of living in, that's then you're current. So we just keep on fighting that fight, and it's of course it's funny because people just loses it when it's Sleep My Day Away, and then but like just thankful to have a hit, and then you are able to paint new colors on an old canvas
I
with the
think
new songs.
yeah, it's like a, I think a hit. I don't like the word single, because I mean like
Yeah,
one hit wonder, because your whole life to do one thing, to be recognized for just one thing. To get to that one thing, you had to do some amazing things to get there. So it's not
exactly.
fair to call it that. But there, I think, like Sleeping My Day Away, you got a chance where enough people saw it and heard the tone, the guitar, the sound. It hit them at the right emotion. So there's such an emotional tie to songs, especially in rock, you know.
Exactly.
And so to me, I think when they hear like "See My Day Away," they're gonna think, "I was here, here, here. I was feeling this. I was a teenager. I was this. I was with this person," and it
Yeah,
gives them. It's usually a good memory. That's what the song is. There's so much attached to it. It's more than just the
exactly.
song itself, you know.
Exactly.
So there is a challenge with new music in older crowds, because I mean, I think a lot as we get older, a lot of people have less. I don't know, getting tied to music, the same songs emotionally. You know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
harder.
You jaded maybe. It may,
It's jaded, and it just might be just
yeah,
you know. Some people they fade in their love of music
yeah,
or the
yeah,
radio, or it's changed with the fact that
yeah,
and I would tell people this is a really. I'm not just saying this is a really strong album, because I choose who I interview. And I
yeah.
choose this. I wanted to actually come back after the Greatest Hits album
Great.
and talk to
Yeah,
you, because I was excited with the three. So hearing this album's been fantastic. I mean, it's 14 solid songs, and I love one of the things about you guys. Besides, you have a very your voice be very raspy but very emotional, which really is
yeah.
stands out. It stands
That's
out.
actually that's what I was thinking about when you talked about the emotions for the old songs.
Yeah.
I keep putting emotions in, so to speak. When I hear a DAD song back,
Hmm.
I don't want to hear perfection. I want to hear something that I want to hear the blues. That's what I
Yeah.
want to, and so that's what I'm aiming at. That's where we're going all the time, and that is a current, new word, new good word,
Yeah.
a current currency. That means that you're actually in the now. You're actually
Yeah.
here now because the emotions should is fresh. It's fresh emotion. So
Hmm.
it's the blues of a 59-year-old man, but that's what it was back then. Then it was the blues of a 24-year-old man, and that's what that's what we're dealing with.
You're not dialing it in. I mean, you're singing live. You're singing with your heart. Everyone likes live music. We like mistakes. We like, you know what I mean? There's been enough,
Yeah,
and I think there's also been a line drawn in the sand in the past few years with like recorded music or fake music to live music. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like where people stand. So being a live band for you guys is just another flag you're carrying. I mean, so new music, you're staying live. You're singing with emotion. You guys have such a great. I mean, the whole band is solid. You the bass, drums. You always have a great sound album. So I mean, it's not like you had any bad albums that were like produced for like if somebody's like, oh, this album was produced, it was a weak year. I mean, each of your albums, I mean, maybe a fan favorite or sold differently,
yeah.
but each one is always a solid performance. It doesn't feel like you were just dialing it in that year to just do an album for the label.
Definitely
I'm going
not.
back. I've listened to all your albums, so I mean, to me, it feels like there's always ebb and flow, but no
Definitely.
dialing it in.
Definitely, it's not possible for us to dial it in. When Laus joined the band, he's such a good drummer that he actually made the shit sound great. But still, it took an album. Then we found out, oh, let's weed out the shit because just because Laus can make it sound good, it isn't
Yeah,
good. And so we all know that we need to put something into it. And we're in the rehearsing space, and we're there, the four of us, and we just have to feel it. It's like we have to be on the same page. It doesn't really work otherwise. And that's a great thing about being local heroes as we are, is
mm-hmm.
that we can forego of the trends, and so because we still
Yeah,
have a really solid following in Denmark and Scandinavia. So whatever we release, it's not like we will die if it's a bad album. So
right.
we are we have we can take a lot more chances just because we have a local following, and those chances are to delve deeper into yourself, delve deeper into the blues. No, not the
Mm-hmm.
blues, but your emotions. So it has to you should see yourself. I see myself as a cultural worker more than a rock star or whatever. It's just we need to try to lift each other up
Yeah.
and come on, dish up with some new emotions or new takes on old emotions. It has to be current.
And you guys, but you have also though, so like you do have the emotions and the sounds of your voice. Like the band is very solid when you play, but the songs are solid. And with this album, though, I mean, great topics, and you still continue to have a great guitar tone. As a guitar lover, the tone, it's almost haunting in a way, because that Western tone, like on some of them, you know what I'm talking about. You guys have a really
Yeah.
great, like it's not like it's a scary tone. It feels like a very lonely, emoting sound. That down, you know what I'm saying? And that to me is part of your sound, that your voice.
Exactly. That's definitely a DAD sound, and it's Jacob. He's got that Scandinavian melancholic still, and it's but also there's Americana influences, there's spaghetti Western influences,
and both,
but it's also like a timeless melody carrier, and sometimes it's so timeless that it can be a little cheesy. But when you stack rock up beside it, it suddenly gives such a beautiful tension. But sometimes, I mean, there's a couple of songs on this album that when we played it without totally logging in, we were sounding like the Mavericks. And the Mavericks are a great band, but it's not our kind of.
Right. Well, do you have a favorite song? Or do they change it on you? What about you for this album?
Oh, wow. God Praise the Man. It's really growing on me. Live by Fire is a very personal song for me. Let me see. Laust wrote the riff for Speed of Darkness. And now he really, I mean, he's really a full member of DAD. Not that he wasn't before, but that kind of riffing, that's, whoa, come on, Laust. Yes, thank you so much. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. Let me see. Maybe my favorite, if I should choose one, still is The Ghost.
Yeah, I think the part you start to when you get the basically the bridge and the chorus, there's something about you hit such a note, a tone of emotion to me. Like I like the songs, when I hear them, I change them. I don't like skip songs or anything, but there's something every time I hit that, I just get the chills. There's something about in Ghost, like I hit the it's just like, to me, I'm like, God, that is just such a powerful thing you came across.
And it was a quick song to do the melodies and the top liner and stuff like that, and playing it live has been a great experience as well, because we were the first month or two we played it without people ever knowing it, so it was really for our own sake, and people were responding perfectly to it anyway, so it's a good song.
I think that's an interesting point that you bring up with being able to do like this new album and having a different type of audience. Well, culturally, I do think the American audience, and we'll talk about rock just in fairness, but just in general, very much likes to be familiar with its music.
Yeah.
Before performance, I think. Even I think with plays and stuff, everyone likes to know what they're going to see. I'm on the outside. I'm like, if I already have the album, I love when a band plays something different. It doesn't have to be like Fish and they're doing a 20-minute jam or something. Like, they don't need to that. But if you're doing some new cuts off an album that I haven't heard before, or a new single.
You're right. You're actually totally right. And I think that's a good point, that in America you have a bigger tradition for the jam bands, and people are really they value it much more than they do over here, where it's more package. Eurovision, 3 minutes on to the next hit. Whereas you have a rock culture that is much more floating and a little more hippie.
Well, it's either, but the ones that like that want the jam, want the long music parts, or they want the known set list. They want to hear almost the same songs from the Greatest Hits album that they played on the way to the show.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's no like you're saying, you can go out and play a brand new song, and you already have an audience that's been a fan that's going to go, oh, what's the song? So I mean, I think that's that's different. And what everyone is experiencing right now is actually what the album is. The Speed of Darkness keeps happening to Jesper. The lighting.
You're funny.
I'm a dad. I can't not have a pun in me. Come on now. It's like the law. Seriously, this is a great album. This is great. How quickly you guys recorded this album in the studio? It feels like this was such a tight album that you guys were just
the whole time up to recording, we actually spent much more time on it, because we started out and there were like 10-12 songs that actually didn't make it on the album, but we almost spent a year trying to get to know each other on a feelings level. I often say that we needed to have a period at the same time. That's how close you have to be because we make the music together. But having, and then suddenly your confidence grows when you okay, we can do this. Hey, shoulder to shoulder, yes, we can do this. So when we went to a guy called Jacob Hansen, who's been doing Volbeat, but also been doing Arch Enemy and all kinds of more metally stuff. He's got a really, really great drum room. And Laust was in heaven. He was like, the harder I bang the drums, the more sound, because in other studios it implodes more than it actually expands. So he was so happy, and that actually set a total new bar for DAD, because this album sounds better than the past 2 or 3 albums, in the sense that the albums prior to this has been a little more like, let's have some attitude in the sound. Let's have a little not so much compromise in the sound. Let's be a little rough. Whereas the confidence in these songs actually makes, hey man, it's okay to have a grown-up sound. It's okay to have like people who values quality. Let's have a sound like this.
I as you say that, I think back with the other albums. I do think there's a crunchier sound than the other ones, and this does feel like a big sounding album, like a big, it just feels expansive.
Exactly, and that's like
you guys have never had a bad sounding album, but I think that's the difference in this album. I couldn't put my words into it.
And that's exactly what it is. And I think it's something about confidence, and it's something about patience, because we just gave up. Okay, let's not have a deadline. Let's just keep on keeping on until we're on the same page, and let's see what happens. And Nick Foss, the producer, was to that as well. He was actually coming out in the rehearsing space telling us, guys, see this as if this is your last album. Come on, I want to really come on, dig in, dig deep, and so the confidence and the patience has been a part of that as well.
I hear that, and I think with you and a lot of artists, and you do it in your band as long as you have been, there's labels and ups and downs and band members and whatever, and family members, all kinds of things. It's like a relationship. You fall in love, you don't fall in love, you hate that person, you're just bored. But I think what it always goes back to, when a good album comes out and something like this, it feels like you're falling back in love with songwriting.
Exactly.
And this is the wave, and this is the meal you get after the band falls in love with songwriting again. And it clicks.
You're right. Yeah. There has to be some kind of necessity. There has to be some kind of feeling of unavoidable necessity. And that comes with time as well, because when you get jaded and you toured and can we have 18 months or blah, 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 you have to get to become hungry again. And the hungry is not going out playing and drinking and touring. The hunger is you want to express something new in yourself. And so that kind of necessity has to come. And that is, of course, doing what we love the most, writing songs. That's the skill set. That's what we've been doing. I've been dreaming of a perfect chorus for 40 years. I mean, that dream cannot stop.
No, but I think you can feel good that you're hitting the right area, especially with something like Ghost. And you have so many good choruses and melodies, and you keep it great. I love a good melody, but I like your voice is raspy and melodic to me, because it's too clean sometimes, just too much for me. It's like a perfect balance for me, like sweet and sour, like your voice and the melody at the time. But with this album, it's like there's no like different songs. There's like a different time period. Like all the songs fit together, like it's a solid package. Where sometimes if you write an album, you're like, these songs are here. You can tell different time periods, and you like an album, but you're different songs here and there. Like this album you put in, and it's top to bottom. You like one song, you're gonna like the whole album.
But the funny thing is that all these songs, apart from one song, has been written in 2023. That was the year where we made the songs, because up until that we made a lot of songs, but none of them made it. So we have been luckily free from that thing about having a different time songs from something sounded old and So it's
just feel like somebody's hearts I'm sorry, some people's hearts are just in a different spot when they write, and they could be in the same sessions, and the songs are just too different. Like and it can be fun to listen to the album, but if you just like listen to a rock album, I like when it feels like it's one big package, and not like you're jerking around, like you're changing gears, because it's kind of hard to listen to a full album when you're skipping around.
Yeah, but all the songs all the songs have been played in the same drum room at Jacob Hansen's place. All the songs has been overdubbed at the same studio with all the four of us. So it's also in a very lovely time where everybody was having the same vision. So I understand, and that is a quality, as a sign of quality, that it has some kind of organic. It's
Yeah, it's got
cousins. The songs are brothers and sisters and cousins.
There's a continuity, and I think what I really love about it is also the playlist. To me, I'm always about how they laid out in which order.
Yeah.
I mean, who's putting the list together? The track listing.
That's
order?
definitely Nick Foss. Everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's shouting and sending texts saying this is the way, and then Nikolai Foss says no, this is the way.
It's good to have a leader.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Good to have somebody can say, yeah, good, thank you. No.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes you need a mom and dad in the studio. Not having that sometimes hurt the band, actually.
Exactly.
Good track listing makes a difference in the flow of an album.
Definitely. That's the dramatic curve, and that's how you want to present yourself, and keep some of the good songs in the end as well. So it's not like so it ebbs out with the quality. Keep some of the good songs at the end as well.
I look at it as the song listing is almost like a roller coaster, and the song's gonna be good. But if you have one song in the wrong spot, it doesn't seem like it's a good song. Well, it could be just as good. But if you're like, it just ruins it. But if you have all the songs in the right spots, each song can be its fullest, and you're like, that's a good album. Exactly. And because part of it's because they're good songs, but they're also shown in the right lighting, the right perspective, and the right sound. There's a lot to do it. And this, like I said, this is a great album. I mean, from top to bottom.
Great,
I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys having it. I hope the public hears much more of it this year.
Yeah, we'll do our part at least. But on the other hand, of course we'll do, and of course people will listen to it, especially in Northern Europe and Scandinavia. Mm-hmm. But to be quite honest, it has to be a work of culture, working in culture, and be able to spend that much time on an album and actually growing together again like a band. It's just lovely. I'm grateful just for that.
Well, it shows, I think, and I hope the North American audience really gets a hold of it too, whether you're able to come and tour or not. I mean, I hope you guys have the advantage to do that. It'd be great. But if not, I hope you guys get a lot of touring. I hope people, can do it. I think a lot of things now with a lot of rock is not just radio stations are doing podcasts now too, but our podcasts and more of a grassroots thing to keep it going. And that's been very good for a lot of rock bands. And I'm hoping that that's the same audience is going to pick you guys up and go, oh yeah, they aren't aware of you. And to me, I think this album, if you aren't aware of who you are, first listen to Ghost and you'll be like, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Then listen to the album, and then if you're not sure what album to get, do the greatest hits that just came out. Like double album, it's got some live on it.
Yeah.
It's got some different songs because it shows the textures of who you guys are, and it has your hits. And that will give you guys a feel. And then from there, people can just dive into the rest of the catalog.
Exactly. But there's a whole new media landscape, as you said, about podcasts and stuff like that. And I think also that is evolving. I think there's a lot of things going on because rock fans, we're old guys. We need to find out how to get our stuff. And suddenly there will be better playlists. There'll be better forums. There'll be stuff. It's still working. It's still in motion. So yes, we just have to keep on keeping on. And you're right. If you can get a little knowledge of who DAD is and get a little timeline thing going, then of course that's a super luxury package to have the old stuff and the new stuff next to each other.
I'm gonna put the links for everybody for the band underneath the show on podcast and on YouTube, so people click on it and check out the band and support it. And I mean, and it is a grassroots thing. I mean, people do podcasts like me, whatever, have grown. Yeah. My audience is people that are like me, that are fans of music. And we were tired of these weird, the radio wasn't doing all the artists. They were being like whoever the hits. We wanted our music back of all the artists that were good, and I think that's your audience on a lot of things, and that love music, die hard forever.
Exactly.
Jesper, I want to thank you, man. It's been a pleasure twice this summer. It's been a
yeah. It's a pleasure. It's a cozy little Zooming thing.
It is. I'll be looking forward to talking to you again. Maybe I can get to see you, whether it's here or
we will try the best. I mean, we put 25, 2025. Let's go abroad. Let's see what happens. We hope.
I know you're gonna do the best. And I'm gonna say I'm gonna put the energy out there to the universe, and actually
Mm,
more out to the rock bands out there that are doing packages. DAD is the
exactly.
one you want to grab and bring them along with you. You know,
Exactly. That's the way.
that's where to go. Jesper, thank you very much. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. See
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.